Oh no.
I think she did. You put the you got your medal by you anywhere near?
Oh yeah, this wasn't a marathon. This was a 15K actually.
Okay.
Yeah, here it is.
Mari, she has like a case or two cases full of marathon medals.
I am impressed. I want to
This
be
is
like
my
you
I
when I
third.
grow up.
love looking at her medal case.
I want to be like you when I grow up.
Right, you know?
Ooh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That's the race that's given by us for us.
I
It's
figured.
actually done every year.
Okay.
It's called
Uh-huh.
the race. It's called the Race
Okay.
Unity Collective, and
Gotcha.
yeah, that's like gonna be. It's in Atlanta every year, and that'll be probably a annual race that I'll do every year, just because it's us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to support us more
That
than
it's always
anything.
gonna be in
So
Atlanta.
always in Atlanta. Yeah, the founder of it actually is lives in Atlanta. She's like the coordinator. She's the one that came up with the concept, the idea, and so we basically just put our money together, and she did like a what was that when you're raising money to start something. I can't remember what it is, but
Fundraiser.
she did that. It's not a fundraiser. It's like,
I know what you're
damn it,
talking
I can't
about.
think of it.
Seed money.
Something similar to that. But yeah, it's like a crowdfunder. That's what it
Oh,
was. So it
okay.
was a
Gotcha.
crowdfunder.
Okay.
Basically,
Um,
everybody that wanted to be a part of it when we first did it the first year was basically just sewing, into the concept of us creating something. We used to whine and complain about us not being able to be a part of these
yeah.
bigger races like the
Right.
Divas Half Marathon, all of the race series, the Rock and Roll halves. They got series in every state. And it was just like, okay, while we sitting up whining and complaining that we're not represented on Self Magazine and all of these things, we need to create our own shit. And you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
coming with your own table versus trying to get seats at everybody else's table.
Right.
You know
Gotcha.
what I mean? And we're easily swayed into buying into that idea. We're quick to sign up for another race, that's not given by us, but it's like, yo, we need to be having that same idea, that same
And that's an
kind of
enthusiasm.
network mindset when it
Right.
comes to things that we do. To me personally, I feel like everybody that is Black that is a runner should be supporting it every freaking year.
Right.
But
I agree.
you don't. It's not. That's not the case. It's like people, you know what I'm saying, would rather
Mm-hmm.
choose another race that ain't by us, that doesn't represent us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And yeah, so
Okay.
it's usually a 5K and a half marathon. But yeah, like I think this is year 4. It's going into year 4.
Sweet.
This will be year 4 for us. Yeah.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sweet.
we pay the race fees. They have
Yeah.
very good, they have very good relationships with the Atlanta mayor and like the politicians that are in that state, that are Black.
Okay.
So yeah, it turned out to be a very good race
Nice.
actually. So yeah.
Awesome.
But enough
Awesome.
about me. That's enough. Yeah. Like
Well,
yeah.
we're
I'm
excited and
hearing some
proud of
feedback.
you. I
Thank you.
love,
Thank you very much.
I love saying you my little sis that's got all these medals and I was just proud of you, Nika. That's all.
Thank you. I appreciate
Impressive.
it. I appreciate it.
Impressive.
Hmm.
Thanks. Thanks.
Well, our
Yeah. More to
topic
come.
tonight. Oh, for sure, and we gonna be
Yeah.
right there to celebrate you. Our
Awesome.
topic tonight, you guys, is about. Hold on, someone's at my door. Come on in. It's my godson. Come on in. I'm on live right now, so don't say anything. Did you get that lighter? What? Thank you, dear. This is always fun. Okay, guys, we are talking about the word and action of sex. And are you, and how did it start for you? I have a series of questions that I want to ask, not only the audience that's listening, but the people that are on the page that will help us to just kind of start the questions off and lead into whether or not we are approaching and handling and dealing with sex the right way. So I wanted to have this conversation. Let me go real quick into why I wanted to have this conversation. I think we touched into it a few times on some other subjects where a lot of women are and men are just not getting it, and having problems or issues later on because they don't understand what intimacy is pertaining to sex, as well as what sex is and the action of it and the reason for it. So I want to just delve into that a little bit because my first question would be is, how did you learn about sex? That would be my first question to anyone that wants to answer that. How did you learn about sex? Because there's a lot of people that are listening. They're whether they're listening now, but there are people that view this, and I want to school the people that don't understand that or don't feel that they know, or that we don't understand where they are or where they've been, or how it may have happened for them, or they just don't know, or they never asked themselves that question. But how did you learn about sex?
Nika, you go first.
My two Gemini panelists.
I don't think I actually learned. I don't think I was taught. I think I just learned by trial and error, just by doing. Versus,
okay.
I know that my parents didn't really teach me anything about it. It was just kind of like, don't do it. Basically, that was all that we got taught. And
till you're married.
Right. Don't do it until you're married. Abstain from it, So mine was basically based off of just being in the situation and learning on my own and learning as I go. So yeah, that's how I learned about sex, honestly. Yeah.
Mari?
I learned from my high school friend. She was having
sex.
But I don't think I learned about it from her, but I was extremely naive. So, my family religious also.
Yeah.
And I was reared by both grandmothers, maternal and paternal. One extremely spiritual, using indigenous practices, the other one a deaconess in the Christian church. Between the two of them, nobody talked about sex. My father was definitely not going to talk about sex. He was barely around. And when he was around, he was an alcoholic. So out of his mind. And my mom, no conversation there either. But I was so naive that, I actually thought that you got pregnant by being kissed. And I am ashamed to tell you how old I was. You did too, Nika? Was that a hand?
I was so scared to kiss anybody. Yes. I was so scared to kiss anybody. Yeah, same here. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get pregnant.
Listen, I was really old. Okay. I was out of junior high school when I thought And my friend,
Wow.
yes, I was a freshman in high school when I still thought you could get, and I had kissed someone, and of course, by now I started having my cycle at 12. So
we had ours. I think we had ours early too. Didn't we need?
9
I
and
know
10.
I did.
Yeah, like 10 years
ooh,
old.
that's
I
really
was
young.
10.
That's
Yeah.
really young. I didn't know what it was. No one told me, so I thought it was something else when pain hit me. But the point is that I had kissed someone in high school and went to my friend who was sexually active already. I went to the classroom and pulled her out of class crying because I thought I was pregnant but it was that my period was coming and my breast was tender. And by then I had gotten wind of the fact that that was also a sign of pregnancy. She laughed me under the table, right?
Right. Wow.
I was much younger.
Andrea says the same thing.
So
I was much younger than that, but I still felt the same way.
So and also too though, but I fell in love when I was 12 years old with the DJ at a party. And the thing is, I was very developed at 12 years old. I was fully shaped and all that, and mothers. And I was also, the funny thing is, I wasn't really aware that I was sexy, but believe it or not, at 12 I was sexy. So the parents who weren't giving guidance, they were just judging, from a broken home. And they were making comments about how sexy I was. But I really wasn't even thinking about sex or anything like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I go to this party, and now that I look back in a very sexy dress, and I meet this DJ, and he's 3 years older, and I am smitten. And we have our first kiss, which was amazing. And we talk later, right? We exchange numbers, we talk later. And he said to me, when you're ready, because I was a virgin, when you're ready, I want to be the person. And years later, he was that person.
Wow.
And I basically learned a little bit with him, like you, Mika. I learned on the job.
Right.
It was a mess. It was it was a fumble. It was a mess.
Right.
But that's how I learned, between her talking to her and finding out that you don't get pregnant from kissing, and then having the experience years later with him.
Right.
Wow.
Andrea has the same experience. Erica, if you're listening, I would love to hear your thoughts as well. Thank you for being a part of the conversation. Well, I think my experience actually was, it was with an older man. It wasn't sex, but it was the humping.
Fondling. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the
grinding.
Over the clothes thing. Yeah, the grinding. Yeah. And it was to the point to where that emotion and that feeling was there.
Right.
So that was the beginning of my experimentation in that. So that was the first time I think I knew I like this shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But my next question is, ladies, why do you want sex? Why do you want sex?
I feel it's essential. I really do. The reason why I'm saying that is because I just hung up with a really good friend of mine, right? And he used to be in HR, right? So he was telling me that, like, every day, what he does is he takes a 20-minute porn break.
Okay.
So
he takes a 20-minute what?
Porn.
Okay.
Porn.
Okay.
Break, right? And so he was like, I really feel like people should have a 20-minute porn break. He said, just to have a release.
Okay.
just to have a way to release, because when you're in a, if it depends on how you feel about sex, but you're releasing good endorphins and you're releasing the feel good hormone and everything, and anything that was an issue for you prior to that release is no longer a freaking issue for you.
For the moment, yeah.
For the moment, right. It's a way to just like escape and get your mind in something else so that you're able to deal with whatever the circumstances are.
Right.
I like it. I like sex. Matter of fact, I fucking love sex, okay? I fucking love it.
I'm with you too. I'm with you.
Right. Like, I love it. I think it's great. And I feel like I don't understand how people, unless you've had traumatic experiences and everything, don't love it, because it makes you feel so good personally. So I feel it's essential for my mental, my physical, definitely my skin. The fuck, getting it on the regular. Your skin looks flawless. Okay, I'm just saying it does. See, I'm not. That's why my shit looking jacked up right now. But yeah, so I feel like it's essential for just a whole lot of things to put you in a much positive space. A lot of people are walking around here sexually frustrated.
Yeah.
Because they don't have that release, or they haven't taken the time to have that type of release or whatever. So I feel like it's essential. It's essential for me.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. It definitely makes a difference for me.
Yeah.
And I am definitely a sensuous person. So having an orgasm is important to me.
Always.
Me release my stress. And if I'm studying, I always tell my fella, you need to be nearby if I'm studying, because when I'm studying, I have anxiety, and so, and this is the thing too, and I said this to you guys before, there's a connection to me between sensuality and spirituality.
Right.
So, and then, like Andrea's saying, it is a way, if you're in a relationship with someone, I've been in a 10-year relationship with someone, and I've been happy to I realize that it really does contribute to helping me deal with the stresses of life in general. You know what I mean? And
right.
So I agree with you, Mika, that it's an essential part of my life, and I think we are sensual beings. So
right.
We are supposed to have that one, or that significant, or that lover. You know what I mean? That someone you can rely on and engage in a healthy sexual exchange. I think that's within the natural order of things, and to deny yourself that is to cut off a piece of yourself, and that's not how we're designed. We weren't designed.
Absolutely.
It is something that is so beautiful to enjoy. So for any system to tell you that this is not something that is a part of you, and to tell you to cut that off, that's outside of the natural order of things for me.
Right.
Amen.
I agree. I totally agree. I'd probably answer that question with, why do I want sex? First of all, why not?
Right.
Second of all, second of all, it is a part of me being human.
Yes.
I was put here to procreate, and I was put here to enjoy having a vagina, and I want to enjoy having one. I don't want it to just push out babies.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? As a woman, it's certain things that we have to get across that, yeah, this is mine. I want to enjoy having what I have, and I want to experience what I'm supposed to experience by having it. So if I have a vagina, I definitely want the benefits of having that. You understand?
Right. Right.
Because guys have, they love having their penises, and they brag a lot about having one and being able to, the sack and everything. All of that is important to men. I say that it's important to women to enjoy having a vagina. So
yep.
That's the second thing. And number 3 would be, I would agree with you guys, it's first of all, it's a release. I feel better. I sleep better. I'm not angry. I'm connected to the person I'm laying with. And I'm open to hearing them at that moment in time too. When sometimes I'm not open to hearing them, when, there's times where you're not open to hearing somebody that you love, so during those moments of having, intercourse, sexual intimacy, is good. It's a good way to hear the person.
Pillow talk.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm going to read some of these comments a little bit. Mr. Dawid is here. He's laughing at us. Dorian, I see you. Naturally, I see you. Sierran, I see you. It's a good way to hear. Let me add my brother Mark to the stream. Hi, brother Mark. Mark, are you there? Okay, maybe he'll say something soon. Okay, but Andrea says that I saw a podcast and the sister said it's a spiritual thing, not just physical, which is why we say, oh God, when we have an orgasm. And he made it, hey, he might as well get all the glory. I'll give him all the glory. Yes, God.
Go and tell the Lord thank you.
Every time. Sometimes I've looked at the person and said, thank God for you. Thank God right. He sent you to me. And you did your job. But
job well done.
Right. Sometimes we need that after sex. We do. And there's nothing wrong with congratulating and telling a person, that they did an awesome, amazing job when you're done. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. It makes them want to do it again, the same way and better.
Right.
So.
Hello.
Mark?
Hey.
Hey.
What's up?
Not much. We are asking the question, why do you want sex? Can't wait to hear your answer.
Why? That's the question.
Because I know it's going to be good.
Yeah, that's the question.
Why do you want sex?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want sex?
Yeah, we're leading up to the main question, but these are the questions starting towards that.
Because it feels good. I think that's it. Feels good. It's a release.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That's the main reason.
Right. I feel you. Hey, nothing else need to be said. You heard it from the brother here. And on that same question, when you release, what does that do for you? As a woman and as a man, when you release after sex, what does that do for you? Because it has a lot to do with why we have sex, what it does for you, because you're not going to do something that's not beneficial to you. So what is the benefits of it? And I think we were touching on it, but just to be specific, what is the benefits of you doing or you releasing? What is the benefits of it? And I'm asking these questions because there's some people that don't know what the benefit is. They're just fucking.
Interesting.
Miss Diaz says it restarts your chain of thought and spiritual sense. Okay. And
What's
you know
wrong with
what?
just fucking?
There's nothing wrong with it if you know how to, if that's what you want to do. You know, because it is a difference between that and, the way some people describe making love.
Hmm. Interesting.
Some people don't have to love you to fuck you. So I guess that's the difference in that.
Well, according to scientists and the nurse in the house, I should let the nurse in the house talk about this. But according to scientists, it lowers your blood pressure. It
Okay.
reduces depression. I think you talked about it, Nika. You said something about releasing hormones.
Yeah, the
Now the
endorphins.
one thing, huh?
Yeah, the endorphins, the feel good hormone.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And it helps for better sleep, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And we are born with an innate desire to be loved and to be held, to be touched. So there is, non-scientifically speaking, there is, it's a need that we have. And that is, I think it's the ultimate fulfillment when it leads to, when the touch and the, it leads to an orgasm, then that's the ultimate fulfillment. But even without that, because there's different types of sex,
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely an elevation of spirit that happens when you are engaging, especially regularly, with a partner.
Right. I got you.
I think it makes you a nicer person.
Yeah, because you're happier.
Right. You're less stressful. You're less of a prick to other people. Because I talk to people who don't have sex all the time, and it's brutal. People that don't have sex make everybody else miserable. So I want you to have sex and be a cool person.
Me too,
when
bro.
you don't have sex, everybody suffers.
Yeah. You can be an evil, mean little bitch if you ain't had no sex. And
men,
you know what?
But we gotta include the men too. Men
we sisters can tell when there's a woman that ain't had sex in a while, can't we?
Brothers can tell too.
Yeah,
we can tell. We know. But
I don't know if I can necessarily tell when a guy hasn't had it though, like, because I feel like guys have access to more release than women do. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but
well, do you guys think that
I feel like they release more than we do?
So
I agree. I feel too.
When you say release, are you saying in general via sex or via
like masturbation, all of that?
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
So more women are anti-masturbation, you think?
Yep.
So
absolutely.
So only because the churches are filled with, and spiritual institutions are filled with women, more women, you think that's the reason? That because more churches are I
don't know, man.
Anti.
When I think about me, I can't speak for anybody else. I'm only going to get to church with so much power. Because
absolutely, of course, but that's you. But
when it came to hormones, I wasn't even thinking about the church. No matter what they was talking about. when it came to hormones. So I don't know. I can't see the church regulating the bedroom. Like once you outside the
But they
church,
do.
that's pretty much your domain.
Well, again,
They don't.
my point is
You don't
that the
see it
church is
happening,
still-
but they do.
yeah,
Oh, I know it does,
Yeah.
and that's the
And they
sad
do it
part.
behind closed doors during counseling.
Mhm.
They do. The pastors, when they're doing counseling to married couples or couples getting ready to be married or into relationships, once they're in that marriage, the pastor becomes that person, and he can say something that will mess up, sex life at home.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of women give their pastors a lot of power in churches and everything. And then, I
And
mean,
that's the
going
reason why a
back to
lot of
the
men don't
original
go.
comment,
right.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And why the biggest pimps that are in church. But anyway, that's a whole nother Jerry Springer
Hmm.
show. But here's my I think that's the reasons why women are not releasing as much as men are, is because of the stigma of pleasuring yourself and things like that has been placed on them since church, especially if you grew up in church, So when we say that, maybe church shouldn't have that, yeah, they shouldn't have that much power over you. But the reality is if you've grown up and you've been in that cycle, part of you goes back to that virtuous kind of thinking as well. And so unfortunately, I feel like a lot of women are not, getting that release. It's unlike men who have, what I'm saying, and all of this other stuff, what I'm saying, to find a release and
Sperm is
everything.
cheap.
There are a lot of angry women out here that are not getting that release. And so, yeah, like you said, they become very much assholes because they're not getting a release.
Right.
Sperm is cheap.
Yeah. Sperm is cheap, yes.
Andrea says there was, I thought, a greater stigma of fornicating than self-pleasuring.
It always seemed equal to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
I agree.
Equally shameful.
Right. It's all the same. If it leads to sex, it's still the same thing. So, okay. Yeah. I understand exactly what you're saying. When as that moment that you begin to have sex, and this is for the people that are listening as well, you can answer in the comments, but this is to my panel of guests. At the moment that you begin to have sex, is the goal to please her or to get yours? Please him or to get yours? In the beginning, what was it? And how did you know what you were supposed to do when it happened? Or did you know what you were supposed to do when you first had that first encounter sexually? Did you know what to do? Did you know how to touch him? Did you know how to touch her? Did you know where her spots was? Did you know where his spots was? Did you know what turns him on? Did you know what turns her on? Did you know all of those things when you first started to have sex at the time you did it? And if you didn't know, my next question is then what attracted you to do it? What made you do it if you didn't know what the outcome was or why you were doing it or how to do it?
I think we're gonna have to go one at a time because that's a lot to unpack right there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So what do you want to deal with first?
Well, I mean, I guess the first thing is that did you know what to do?
When you first had sex?
Yeah, the first time, let's say the first 5 times you had sex with that person or whoever it was, in the beginning stages of your sexual encounters or your sexual path, did you know what to do? And did you know why you were doing it? Besides releasing, did you know what to do to that person? And did you know what was supposed to happen to you?
I just want to be clear. You're talking about the first time you've ever had sex?
Yes.
No. How the hell are you gonna know anything?
Okay.
You haven't had it yet.
Okay. After then, that's why I said up to the last 5 times, the first 5 times you did it.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened? I'm asking this question for a reason, because a lot of young kids that are out here today, they're doing things and not understanding why they're doing it. They're trying things and not understanding why they're trying it. They're going into an adult thing, not understanding adult emotions, adult feelings, adult touches, none of that. So I'm asking that question for a reason.
Yeah, I think Nika.
I'm here.
Because I'll say this: all I knew was what he told me to do. That's all I knew, is what he told me to do. Because I'd never seen no books, I'd never seen no porn. My mother didn't allow none of that in the house. We didn't even watch HBO.
Yeah.
So we never saw anything that even, and every time there was a kissing scene or a sex scene, what did we have to do, Tanika? We had to close our eyes or get out of the room. So we didn't know.
I'll say this. I was still sneaking. Fuck that. Like, I was still sneaking. I was doing a lot of shit people didn't know that I was doing. Like, you know what I mean?
I was about to ask
exploring.
that.
Yeah.
To each one of you, like, then what made you want to do it?
My attraction to him. My attraction to him is what made me want to do it. Not my attraction to having sex with him. I just liked him.
Okay, you liked him, but you wanted to be physical with him. So what made you want to do that?
He did.
Yeah, what made you want to be physical?
He did.
So what does that mean?
Everything that came to me was initiated by him. So it wasn't something I initiated. It was something that was, placed upon me. So if he smiled at me a certain way, I'm like, oh shit. If he gave me an extra, apple pie because, he was a manager at the McDonald's, I was like, oh shit. I just enjoyed the extra attention that I got from this person.
Yeah. And I understand that, but I don't think you understand what I'm asking. If you don't know anything about sex,
right?
What's the thing that's making you want to have it when you don't even know what it does for you or what it's about? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what's your motivation?
Urging. It's a natural urging that you have when you come together with somebody, at young or not, and you're kissing, you're touching, you're fondling, you know what I mean. It's a natural inclination to just want to go, even though you're not clear about what you're doing, how to do it. You might be following that person's lead. You might even just be still, but it's a natural urge to go a step further. It's animalistic.
Right.
Okay. More like instincts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the reason why I wanted to ask that question, is because everything we do has something to do with our humanity. It's just innately in us to be attracted to that. And we have to understand that. Mm-hmm. You're attracted to sexuality because it's in you to be attracted to it.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, Karen Diaz says human curiosity. Andrea says initially a lot of it is curiosity. Agree. Mm-hmm. So it's just something that's in us. It's in our DNA to be attracted to what comes next.
Right. Absolutely.
Well said. Well said.
So with what comes next, am I doing it right? Do I know if I'm doing it right? I remember the first time that, me and my daughter's father, which was the first guy I was with, when we got together, all I remember is the pain of it. But I wasn't scared of it. I was more attracted to it for some reason. I wanted to see what it could feel like again. But my first time wasn't great to where I was attracted to it because of that. It's just I knew that there was something more to this.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept going back because I knew there was something more to this.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the reason why you guys, am I on the right track with saying that's the reason why your curiosity is just leading you to always want to go back? So when people say that sex is like a drug, it's actually true. You always chasing the first high. Well, I won't say you're chasing the first high, because sometimes the first time is not something you chase, but after that, you're always chasing that feeling and wanting to know what comes next after that. How far can I go with this? How far can my body go with this? How far my mind can go? Because I know, and my next question is that do you remember using your mind to release, or do you remember using your body to release? And is there a difference?
No,
not in the beginning. No, I didn't. My mind ain't had shit to do with it. And my body, it was just kind of like, I don't know. It's very hard to explain why. For me, I don't know. I wanted it. Shit. That's it. Like, I just wanted it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think there's a difference.
Mind and body.
Mm-hmm.
I think now I use more of my mind body than I did when I was first having sex. You know what I mean? Like, now, of course, there's more of a spiritual connection for me personally, but back then, nah, I don't think I was actually looking at mind versus body, and personally.
Yeah, the mind thing came with experience, and it came with age, and then exposure. My first experience was clumsy, but then the more comfortable I got with that partner, and then when I had another partner, then I started to learn more, and because I enjoyed the intimacy, and like Andrea is saying, the touch, and and the kisses, I kind of learned, I went after the knowledge, I kind of went after, and not necessarily, not from porn though, but just from speaking to older women in my life, and speaking to my partners, because my partners were sensual, and sexual beings also. So we had some good kind of conversations, and they were interested in my pleasure.
Stop.
So for them, because they were interested in pleasing me, and we were intellectuals, we actually got, and that even made the intimacy even greater. The intimacy was made greater by the fact that we talked, and we were interested in books like the Taoism of sex, and, and things like that. So then that's when the mind got into it. But in my, but early on in life, I was kind of figuring out my body. But I figured it out. I mean, listen, I was young and naive, but once I became sexually active, I got very acquainted with my body, and
You know,
Same here.
when you
Yeah, I
say
went
that,
ham.
Mari, when you say that, Mari, you got familiar with your body as time went on and as the years went on or experienced. There's a lot of women that don't do that.
Right.
Yep.
And they all they know is to open up, let him in, and let him do what he does and do what he likes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, if you don't, if orgasms are not, if orgasms are not a part of your life, and but you have but you're sensual and you have a need for it, I don't,
Right.
I feel bad for women that don't, and I know, some don't, so it's not a condemnation of by any means, but because
Right.
I know how much of a release it is. And
Mm-hmm.
but experiencing orgasms whether or not you're with a partner is important.
Yeah.
And also,
And please tell them why it's important.
well, because of all the things we just said, there is a natural frustration. There's the release of the hormones, the happy hormones. Now there's some people who are probably asexual, okay, and there's some people that don't. I don't know who they are, but
Right. I don't want to know those.
I don't know, because in my circle, people are sensual and sexual. But,
Right.
but I believe, but that's good. People who can live without it and they're comfortable. I mean, I've heard of a woman who was like 70 years age, and she asked God to take her desire away. I don't want my desire to go away. I don't. So, but I heard that worked out. But I think for in terms of young people, I do believe that and I didn't do a good job of this with my children. I thought I had time, and then they became sexually active. I was naive with them. Thinking I had time.
I was too.
On survival, and, making sure that we lived, that they had the things that I didn't have, that it didn't occur to me that I was basically doing what my parents had done by not talking to them. But again, I thought I had time. And before you know it, my kid was like, "Mom, I'll tell you when I'm 18. He says, "I'll tell you when I'm 18 when I lost my virginity." I was like, okay.
My kids did the same thing. They didn't tell me a lot of stuff until they got old enough for me not to attack them.
And I feel horrible. I think about that even now. Like, I mean, this week, I've thought about how do I approach this topic? Because there's certain things that you have to be comfortable in. Nika, one of the things I loved about in our previous conversations is how you developed a relationship with your children so young with everything, so that as they grew up, because for me, because I did not talk about that, my kids were uncomfortable when they saw me dancing with my fella on the dance floor, and it was a little, it wasn't even very racy. It was just a little racy. But because I had not developed that relationship where we talked about things, now when I want to talk about it, there's an awkwardness there. And I regret that I didn't. So for the sake of what we're talking about, and in terms of young people, for our parents, or it don't even have to be a parent. If you have young people in your life that are comfortable with, sex and sensuality is as important and as a part of you as breathing. So it is really important to try to pull those children in before they start, opening up their, and themselves to dis-ease of the body and broken hearts. Because we know as women, when we're intimate with people, that hormone is released, that love hormone is released, and we are attached to these people. These are the things that young ladies have to know, you know, in terms of opening themselves up for these energies, or because they really may not even understand what their body is telling them, what the urging is. But a lot of times they're just looking for love. They're looking for intimacy, not
that bond.
necessarily
Yeah.
sex, you know what I mean? They're not necessarily the act of sex. They're looking for intimacy. They're looking for connection. And the way they can get it is if they allow a man to enter them.
Actually, that's my granddaughter. You guys hear singing in the background like I have nothing to do that's important right now. So y'all forgive me.
Understandable, sir.
But yeah, I'm glad you explained it that way, and you touched on a lot of things, you know, when it comes down to our children growing up and understanding it. There's a lot of things that I wish at this, you know, that I could have saved them from, and I could have taught them a lot better what they were going to deal with, and I wasn't afraid to approach it in a real way. You feel me?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Totally. I feel you.
And you have to be real about something that is so real. You have to.
Yeah, because these predators, you know, and these, you know, the people that want to teach your kids quicker than what you want to teach them, you know, they're not waiting till they get of age. You know, they're not waiting till they're mature and they understand love versus sex and lust and all of these. They're not waiting for that. You know, so I wish there was, you know, there was some things that I taught them because it was things that I was faced with. But, you know, you can only go back to how you grew up and how you were introduced to it yourself. Right.
Your own arsenal, your own tool belt, your own tool belt. Your tool belt didn't provide you the tools, so therefore you couldn't provide the tools to somebody else. Unless, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I agree.
Whereas now, you know, having granddaughters, I have 4 granddaughters, and my whole thing, you know, with them is, you know, I have to make sure, but at what age do I start that information? Because it can start very soon for them.
Yeah.
You know, when do I start telling her about her body? When do I start telling my grandson about his, you know, about what he's feeling down there? When do, you know, because they're going to come to me about that, or they're going to want to know.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want nobody teaching them that don't love them and don't care about them and don't want them to get it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
So that's a good question. That's a good question.
I mean, if it's going to come from somebody, it should come from somebody that loves you, that wants the best for you, versus just some random person out there trying to teach you something. And I think that's unfortunate, that a lot of how we grew up was just random people teaching us certain things. You know what I mean? Like, because our parents didn't really talk much about sex and, you know, the feelings and the hormones and, you know, the adolescent years that we went through or whatever. You know, you got all of these feelings that you're feeling, but you don't know what to do with them, and your parents are not having that conversation with you. So then what are you going to do? You're going to seek out what that feeling is. It's unfortunate. But yeah, it's like we do the best that we can with our children, of course, now, you know, just from having our own experiences and everything. I think when it came to my sons, more than anything, it was, me and their dad both had the conversation with them. Of course, him more than me because he's a guy, you know, so he can tell them from an experience from a guy's point of view, you know, you're going to experience these things or whatever. And then just, you know, don't make it seem so scary. You know what I mean? Like, don't put
the approach is a point.
Kids, you know, to stay away from abstain from sex and everything. Like, don't put fear in them. Like, if they want to talk about it, the approach is important. To have that conversation with is their parents, is the people that brought them into the world. Like I said, you know, so for me, yeah, it was more or less like we had the conversation, but you know, at the same time, it was kind of like we just allowed them to, like, I have my oldest one still hasn't had that experience. You know, I don't want to tell his business, but you know what I mean? My youngest one, of course, yeah, he getting his. Most definitely. You know what I'm saying? But he's doing it with protection with one person. He's been with
Right.
that person for the longest time, you
Yay,
know.
Bryce.
Right. So, you know, but and if he has questions, you know, he feels comfortable coming in and saying, "Hey, Ma, tell me about this," or whatever. And you
Right.
just leave it open. Don't leave it to the place of fear where kids don't come to you and talk to you about it. Because all you're
Right.
doing is recreating the same shit that we went through. You know what I
Right.
mean? When you have that fear, like you walking around thinking you're gonna get pregnant because you got kissed by a boy. You know, we just need to be more, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like be open to it. I was much younger than Mari, but I was still young and still naive to a lot of things, and all of mine was kind
Didn't
of
know
just
shit.
sneaking.
Didn't
Yeah,
know nothing.
sneaking and finding and everything. And I would sneak and watch HBO and be looking at people, you know what I'm saying, when my parents go to bed, like just little stuff like that. Or whenever we would go over somebody else's house that had HBO,
Right.
you know, looking at, you know, pornographic books and things like that, or reading books. I got the whole Zane collection in there now, you know what I mean? So mine was more or less like I was seeking out that knowledge of pleasure and how to pleasure someone. And I learned that from being married for 25 years, you know what I mean? Like we that was something that we never had issues with, you know. So yeah.
I think
like
with children, I agree with Andrea, that you start with, you know, talking when they will kind of give you a clue, you know, because they're naturally going to touch themselves, which is the natural order of things. Is their body, and they should not. In our day, and maybe, you know, I know for myself, we were discouraged. It was almost like we were doing something dirty when we touched our own bodies. So the first thing is, you know, to not have that approach as a parent, to be okay with them touching their bodies. And then when they touch it, you, like Andrea says, you give them the right names about it. And I think for me, if I were to had to do it all over again, and if, you know, and if I am the one that ends up being responsible to talk to my grandson about it, and I probably will, even if his uncle or his dad or his dad talk,
he's got to hear from a woman's point of view, and the what best woman is his grandma. That's right.
Yeah, I would want to. And so I think for me, I would probably, you know, we read books, so I would probably find the most, see if there is a book, and if there is not a book for young people that is starting to talk about sex, then one of you guys need to write it.
Right.
Because it's needed.
Right.
You know.
But I don't know if I should be the one, but okay.
Yeah, one of us. If that is not, there's no.
It might be a little raw.
Market for it. But if I had to do it all over again, you know, because I think that was going to be my approach with my children. I mean, I gave my daughter a book, but the whole thing and the book, you know, had to do with her body, and, you know, wasn't but it was the beginning. And somewhere along the road, I dropped the ball in terms of speaking, and then there was a disconnect between us, and I didn't feel comfortable. And I didn't feel like she was in a place to hear me either, but I said that I messed that up, you know. So again, I think start with, you know, acknowledging the body parts, particularly when you see them touching it.
Yeah.
Reassure them that there's nothing wrong with that. And then as they get older, you know, find a book that helps you help them. Even if there's no book that is for children, you know, there has to be resources by now.
Right.
Absolutely.
My children got, one day they got caught. Well, I caught them with a porn video. Thank you, my brother Taj, who left them at my house on purpose for my sons. I know what you did. But he left left some at my house, and they got a hold to him. And I didn't snap off. I didn't get upset because I saw the benefit, the bad parts of doing that with your children who are searching for answers. But I did use the tape as a way to start a conversation about what was real in the video and what was not real.
Right.
What was love in the video, which was none, and what was just acting. And then this video, I think this video was hardcore too. I think they was doing some bondage type, pulling hair, and it was something, to that effect, to where it was just too much. So I used the video, and I calmed myself down. I said, look, we're gonna watch this video, and I'm gonna explain to y'all what's going on. And it's crazy how you don't expect these moments with your children. But when they come about, you have to be smart enough to understand that they're searching.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to understand, what is that about? I've heard about it. I want to see it happen, and is that what I'm supposed to do? And so I took that opportunity to explain to them, what was going on. How much of that they retained, how much of that they, took in, and it helped them. I don't know. Hopefully it did. But yeah, that was the beginning of me understanding that they were looking for answers.
Yeah,
was them watching a porno.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Great picture of you, Mark, Brother Mark.
Yeah, I love that picture of him.
Oh, thank you.
So, but getting it right in bed, how do you know when you've gotten it right? Does the person do you have to, do you ladies and gentlemen and the people that are listening, is it important for you to please your husband or please your wife or please your mate or partner, whoever it is? Is it important for you to please them every time you're with them? And how do you know? Is the person vocal in telling you that you've been, you've done a great job? Is it important to you?
It's
every
important.
time?
Yeah, it's important. It's important every time. And I'm a big believer in talking while, we're communicating. Listen, intimacy is a communication.
Right.
It's a communication, verbal and nonverbal. So
yeah.
I can't think of I guess, yeah, I would just say yes. It is important.
I feel like, though, sometimes, I don't know, I think this is a turn off for me. Okay, y'all may feel different and stuff, but it's like immediately after sex when the guy say, how was it? Like,
oh yeah, no.
What the fuck? Like, what? Are we?
So you don't want him to ask you that?
No. What the fuck? Like it brings off it to me. It seems like you're not confident. Like if my verbal cues and my talking shit during and whatever else isn't enough to let you know that I am satisfied, don't ask me right after. Oh, so how was it? No, like what the fuck?
Is that a thing?
That's a thing. I don't like that shit. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Yeah,
it's such a turn off to me.
It's
like you are very uncomfortable. Right. It's like it's all ego. It's all ego based. And I don't. Yeah. It's like, yo, don't ask me that.
Yeah, but sometimes it can be just the fact that the person don't know if they please you. All women are not the same.
Yeah, well, I'm
You know,
very
and some
vocal in
women
it.
are vocal about it, and some women keep it inside. Some women won't call you no more. I'm one of them. I won't call you no more. That's my answer. But
Exactly.
but some men want to know that before it gets to that part.
I think that Nika, if he had some finesse, and if he didn't do it that way, there's another way. There's a better way and a different way to ask that. But that right there, yeah, I think you would be okay with it if he didn't do it like that.
Right. Like immediately after, you're now sounding very unconfident.
I don't understand.
You're sounding unconfident. Like I don't like the. I mean, if I'm at that level with you, or if I'm at the place where I'm giving it to you, giving you my energy, then clearly confidence has a lot to do with me getting to that level with you. So it just displays like I'm not confident. That's what it displays to me. It's just like, yo, you should be confident in your skills and what you bring to the table. Because everybody got an arsenal. Everybody got an arsenal. This past weekend, I got my damn chakras, aligned, and I didn't know that was a thing. I was like, what the fuck? So all I'm saying is like, damn, just be confident in whatever it is that you bring to the table. Now, if I leave out of there and I don't set up a time to come and see you again, or say, hey, I'm gonna need that again. Yeah, okay, then.
I think that might be one of the reasons. I think that might be one of the reasons why he's asking, but okay.
No.
I think he don't want to hear that.
Yeah, if I don't call you back, then there's your answer, buddy. Yeah, it was terrible. Your shit was trash. I'm saying your shit was trash if I don't call you back. But if I'm enduring, if I say, yo, I'm gonna need this again, then that means you did your job. I'm fucking like, oh, why we gotta be vocal and say, I have to physically say, you were great, so I can fuck your, like mind fuck you? No, I'm not trying to do all that. I don't need to mind fuck you.
Mark?
Yes.
Your thoughts?
No, I was just wondering why you have to ask.
Exactly.
I didn't know that was a thing.
That's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah, there's some people that when they're
why are you asking after the dance? Like I thought that the whole point was the dance. Like all the stuff that had to happen for you to get to that point.
Because he's insecure, he or she is insecure about what they're doing. That's why they have to ask, because they've had so many people. I won't say so many people, that's making them look like a hoe, but they've had people make them feel like it wasn't enough. So, and there's some people that can't please you like you think they think they can. There's some people that don't match up. Their chemistry is not right. So a lot of times I think that when people ask that question, or when they feel the need to ask that question, is because somebody has already told them, it wasn't all that great, but what one woman may not like, another woman may love.
Another woman might. Absolutely.
I'll tell you one thing I don't think any woman loves. That is a man who is silent from beginning to end.
That's a thing.
Wow.
That's a thing.
I don't think any woman loves that. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, no.
But
how is that even possible?
Listen. You could be.
Some men approach it like it's a chore.
Gorgeous, and the same thing for women too. For women to be silent. Men don't like women that are. And I think, now that if you want to talk about lack of confidence, I think that has to be associated with some lack of comfortability, even though you're engaging in it. But for a woman to be silent throughout the whole process, and for a man to be silent throughout the whole process. It's like, why are you here?
That's a kiss of
why
death.
are you here? You could have done this by yourself.
And you know what? Let's explore that reason. Let's explore that reason. That reason, to me, it sounds like the reason why they do that, it sounds like to me, is that they're in another world. They're not into you. They're in it for them.
Yeah. Yep. It's all about,
because if they were engaging you and they were feeling you and they were loving it, it would be vocal.
Mm-hmm.
But how did y'all? I'm really confused right now. Because how did two people even get to that point with all of that nonsense?
Absolutely. Nah, bro. Nah.
How do you even get into bed?
Yeah, with somebody that's not vocal.
How does anything even go down? I don't get that. That is weird.
Because you got some people that just decide, it's a lay for them. That don't mean they in love. That don't mean they really want the person. It's a lay for them.
Even if it's a lay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that makes it even worse, actually.
Yeah.
If it's just a lay, then what are you so quiet about?
Right.
Yeah, right. But not only, and I know men
silent.
I know men deal with that, but women deal with that too, where the man is silent. He's just into what he's doing and that's it.
And that listen, so weird. You can have two people young and you're playing out the role. So, you're kissing and whatever. So you go on the date, you're kissing and you're fondling, whatever. And then once it goes to the next level, if you're inexperienced, you might play out the role of undressing him. He's the silent one, undressing her, whatever. She's now going along with it. She's following his lead. I can see how that happens, and I've heard stories. And, right. And the person is, at first it might seem romantic, but then the person actually continues the act. And I believe it's something that's uncomfortable. Now, with this particular couple, I think he liked her, but he wasn't totally, for whatever reason, he was in his head about he was so much in his head. And again, he was young. He was so much in his head about trying to please and not exactly knowing what he was doing.
Yep.
That comes from inexperience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He did the thing, but he was basically silent, and it was a bust for all involved.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've heard people and you know what? I've heard this a lot throughout my life, where people say, get out of your head. I think Marcus said that before a couple of times, is get out of your head when you're, being intimate with someone, and you're not only would your orgasms be better, but your sexual connection to that person will come a lot quicker if you're not in your head. Your body's not tense. Release your body. Stop tensing up, trying to have sex. Don't try to have sex. Just be in sex. Be in it. Be present in it. But
it's called when you're experiencing something,
right?
You have to experience what you're involved in.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's why. But the whole concept.
I'll never be in my head.
I think we had a discussion because this conversation sounds familiar. I think we had a talk about this before, where I was saying I don't understand how somebody feels their orgasm is dependent upon somebody else. So in other words, if this person doesn't do what they're supposed to do, I'm just not going nut. Really?
Yeah, I remember.
Let me say something to that. The reason why that happens with a lot of women is because of how mothers teach their daughters about sex. We don't know that stuff going in.
Right.
It's a lot of things we're not aware of. This is why I was asking this question of how do you know you're doing it right from the beginning up until now? Experience teaches you how to do it right. Longevity with that person teaches you what to do with that person because you know their body. Now, 20-year-old Tasha, I wasn't paying attention to when I touched him, what it did to him and his little moves and I wasn't paying attention to that shit. But now I notice that when I touch him a certain way or when I do certain things to him, I notice what it does to him. So now I'm aware and I'm connecting with his body. But before, no, I wasn't connecting with his body, and I didn't know he was supposed to connect to mine. I just thought it was an action I was having.
Right.
A flow of his penis in my vagina. I didn't know that there was something more to it, but I kept trying to have it because I knew it was something more, but I didn't know what it was.
Right.
I think most people learn through trial and error, because it's very rare that somebody's going to sit down and tell you about the sexual experience. It's rare. There may be some people, the parents that do that or whatever, but for the most part, we learn by trial and error.
Absolutely.
Older siblings too is another one. It's it would be good if older siblings would share with their younger siblings as well.
Yeah,
and some people just can't. Some people just can't teach. Like some people don't know how to transmit knowledge.
Yeah,
even if they have experience.
I think the best, the best moments sexually in my life has been, when I turned 50. And I'm 51. How about that?
Wow.
Hey,
that's
because
heartbreaking.
Well, I mean, it is. It really is. And but
I'm sorry.
I allowed men to train me to please them, not to be pleased.
Bruh. Nah, bro, I gotta get mine. Fuck you.
I allowed. Yeah, I'm being real. I allowed them to train me to please them.
That's all I gotta say.
Right. I wasn't thinking about me, and I enjoyed it.
Right.
I enjoyed being the pleaser.
Yeah, no.
But I didn't know that there was more in it for me.
No.
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy that it doesn't. You know what I mean? I'm happy that you had that experience, and
better late than never.
Yeah, because I mean, sex means something to me now.
Yeah,
because I got tired of it quick when I realized, okay, nigga, you ain't gonna. It ain't about me at all.
Right. And
nah, bro, I can't.
You just want me to do. You know what I'm saying? Get the fuck out of here. So. And you get tired of that. You get tired of it.
It's about your pleasure and not mine. Nah, I got to get mine as much as you got to get yours. Like, we're in this together, and it also has a lot to do with your spirit and spiritual connection as well that you have with somebody as well. So all of it plays a role. But yeah, I'm not there to just be your pleasure. I'm not.
Right. And there's so many women that just like what I'm just saying have experienced that before, where they have been trained by the man on what it is sex is supposed to be about. And if you don't know going in, you will become a slave to sex in that way instead of a participation in sex.
Nah.
A participator in sex. You're supposed to be participating. It's supposed to be an equal exchange. Some women are not taught that. They're taught that, and some men are not taught that. They're taught that they're only supposed to please a woman, and that's it. So
yeah, no. It's an equal exchange, back and forth with each other. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that. It is an equal exchange. But yeah, if I didn't get mine, I'm definitely gonna be very vocal about it for sure.
Yeah, see,
I'm just saying.
I was quiet. I just accepted it. I just thought it was normal. I thought this is what I was supposed to do. Yeah, wow. I know. You
need a hug.
A moment of silence.
Hug.
A moment of silence. Okay, we good.
Nah, son. Nah.
Yeah.
It's equal exchange. I'm getting pleasure out of it just like you are.
Well, the good thing is though that there's at least 4 women on here that are willing to talk to the younger people.
Yeah.
About at least younger women, you know, and that's really important because babies are born as a result of, think about that. How many babies are born from bad sexual experiences?
Bad.
And now you got to deal with this food for the rest of your life, not just the next 18 years, the rest of your life.
I mean, so this is a really important topic, you know, because again, it's. I thought about that the other day. How many children were born, and women have never had, women that never even had an orgasm.
And a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So this thing about knowing yourself, knowing your body, teaching our young people to learn about themselves, feel comfortable with themselves, educating them on what these parts are called, educating them on what is the right touch and what is a bad touch, you know, educating them on sensuality versus sexuality versus whatever, you know, all these things are super important, you know.
I agree.
Because it's teaching us women, because for a child to get here, a woman had to decide that she was going to bring this child into the world, right? Now, you know, of course, because we have abortion law, you know, rights.
Right.
But still, it's the woman. So our pleasure, our understanding of ourselves, our being comfortable with ourselves, our you know, our ability to engage in healthy sex. And I do believe that if you can find a partner and have a long-term relationship, whether it's lovers or marriage or partnership, but there is a growth that happens for you sexually if you can have a partner, you know, a lover or a partner or a husband, and you know, have experiences that you can compare and talk about and expand upon, and, you know what I mean, and experiment, you know, have your experience, because you feel more comfortable the longer you're with someone, the more comfortable you feel. These are the things that I think that we want to encourage our young people to do.
Yeah.
You know, boys and girls. But the reason why the emphasis is on the women is because we teach the men how to please us. You know what I mean? And again, because out of that act of sex can come a baby, we want women to feel empowered so that they can make decisions that, because these, you know, having a baby, as we all know, affects your life for the rest of your life.
Right.
Amen.
You know, so this whole sexuality, this is about empowerment.
Yeah, and there's nothing more empowering than having empowerment and having power over your body. There's nothing more empowering.
Yeah, and changing the narrative, because again, as women, we are the ones that bring the babies into the world, but we are also oppressed sexually, in most of the spiritual institutions that I've been a part of, and I've been a part of plenty. We are oppressed. So
all my life.
Brothers can, even though the spiritual institutions are mostly with women, but for the men that are present, they can still go off and do what the hell they want. And not even though the sermon was spoken to both men and women, the men feel empowered to go off and have sex and, you know, freely, and the women don't, because we are the oppressed gender.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
This has been an awesome conversation, and it's so many, you know, just sitting here listening to you guys, there's so many other questions I have that needs to be asked, you know, and needs to, you know, be addressed, you know, just for the next generation coming up, because, you know, you don't want them to go through and not have the resources that we didn't have. You know, we couldn't really go and sit down and talk to our adopted mother about sex like that, because then we're opening the door to her thinking that we're out there, that we want it, or that we're looking that. So you're scared to have that conversation. So I encourage the parents, and the ones that are bringing up your children to gradually, as they're getting older, start having those conversations. Get them used to telling you everything, to where they, and don't be afraid that just because they're asking you the question that they want it. They're curious. They're supposed to be curious. Yep. It's in their nature to be curious. It's in their nature to want to know what that feels like, what that's all about, where babies come from. You get all of them stupid, you get all them questions.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, and
it's
also
how
be, cognizant, of the world that we kind of live in as well, Tasha. Like,
yeah.
We live in a very sexual world.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's everywhere. I don't care how much you try to guard your kid from having it or seeing it.
It's even in cartoons. It's even in the cartoons.
We all live in a sexual world where sex sells. You see it in music, you see it in movies, you see it everywhere and everything. So I don't think it's too early to talk, to have those conversations with kids. I really don't.
It's how they're going to be exposed. It's what you say. Yeah, it's what you say in the conversation.
Amen.
And that can be tricky, but I think we as a people now, we've evolved enough to know how to come at our children and our grandchildren about it. And the steps to take in order to keep them safe, and to keep them, from doing something too soon that they don't understand.
Right.
But you can't be afraid of having those conversations, and making sure that they get it right, that they know what they're doing and why they're doing it. It can't be because of peer pressure. It has to be because you're ready.
Right.
This sister,
did you see that comment?
Yeah. I would like her to share if she's on. She says, I was trained and now I hate it.
That's my daughter, Paris.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Mm-hmm. Mother Jai, are you still there?
You hate sex? Oh God.
Oh, I know a few women that feel that way because of their first early experiences.
I've heard of them. Yeah, but it's sad. Yeah. How do you get to a place where you don't like it?
I know women that don't have an orgasm.
Of if you've been abused or something like that, or if people have used it for abuse reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I can't.
Mandarin,
I don't know.
Mandarin Chinese. I feel the same way.
Yeah, exactly. That's like another language to me. I understand it. If a person has been violated or anything like that, then yes, you're definitely going to have issues with intimacy and with sex and everything else. But outside of that, what have we been teaching people?
Don't forget about the church.
Gets them to a place where they don't like it.
The church, and I don't think definitely has been, like what we were saying earlier. They played a role in making people feel guilty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
About their own bodies.
Yeah.
Thank God I didn't fall for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But a lot of people haven't been that lucky. Like a lot of people are still, to their grown, feeling guilt about stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Feeling guilt about being a natural being. That's crazy. It's like a mind fuck. That's to the 10th power. Right. Like really, My last question. Well, my last question is, and we're gonna wrap this up. What would you say to the person listening, that teenager that's listening right now, about what to expect when they first begin their sexual journey? What would you tell them?
I would want to have a conversation with both of them, male and the female.
Yeah, talk to both of them.
And I would say probably the first thing that you should do is become comfortable with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Become comfortable with touching each other, being intimate with each other, and talk about what you like and what you don't like, what makes you feel good, what doesn't make you feel good. Just get used to that person before you even get to the dance.
Right. Before you get to the sex part, get used to
Get used to being intimate, get used to being relaxed and comfortable around each other. So that way you don't have to worry about performance. It's not a performance. It should be an experience.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. It's not a performance. It's an experience. It's a journey. It's a journey actually together that you take with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And I learned that within the last 2 years of my life.
Wow.
Because I wasn't on the journeys before. You know, I was sending them on a journey, but I wasn't a part of it. I just watched them go. Sad. Mari?
I like what Mark said. I think speaking to both of them is important, and also trying your best to emphasize the need to protect yourself. You know, to use protection, because the reality is it feels good, but there are consequences. There can be consequences.
Thank you.
You know, the thing too that I would, and I don't know if you guys, you know, what your thoughts are on this, but as diet affects your scent, what you eat affects your scent. So I would have that discussion as well, because diet affects your scent. So for women, if you are preparing yourself for intercourse, you want to eat things like strawberries and fruits and, you know, things like that. But the same goes for the scent of a man's semen. It's affected by what he eats. So for me, because I am always about holistic living, that is a conversation that I would have with them as well, is about self-care, because how you take care of yourself will affect, you know, affects the other partner.
Right.
In
what you bring to.
Huh?
Yeah, I was just saying how you do it. Yeah, it also affects what comes to you as well. So in other words, what you attract.
Yeah.
Well, pheromones are everything, and if you're releasing those great pheromones and everything, you're going to bring that back to you. And everything.
Yeah.
It's terrible when men have pheromones. I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah,
it is. I'm all about pheromones. Like if you got that certain scent that just make me want to tear you up, and you can tell it because of the way that what he's breathing out, you can smell what his pheromones are. I'm sorry, but that's just how I tell. You can smell a man's diet by just what he breathes out. So if you're close enough to smell what, and to me, that's important to me. I like a man that smells good. Like if you walking around here smelling like tube socks and sweaty drawers, I'm sorry, I'm not fucking with you.
Yeah.
I'm not. You gotta smell good.
And that's important for our ladies girls to know, because a lot of times girls will, you know, do it anyway. You know what I mean? And not realize that they have the power to say, you know what? If you're going to enter me, you need to smell good. You need to take better care of yourself. You have to have better hygiene.
Amen.
Which goes back, which actually goes back to being young and experimenting. Most little girls don't smell that great when they're young. Most little boys don't smell that great when they're young. So how the heck you know what you're doing, what you're attracted to, what is attracting you? You're just doing an action. You're doing it because somebody told you to. You're doing it because you think that's what you're supposed to do, but you don't understand it. So my advice would be stay away from it until you know for sure. Go and talk to your aunties. Go and talk to your uncles. Sit them down and ask them the questions if you don't want to go to mom and dad, but make sure that you understand what you're doing before you do it.
Absolutely.
Because it can lead to a life of not knowing nothing and participating in something you don't know nothing about.
Right.
You don't know it's supposed to be about you, but it is about you.
And you think men don't walk around, they don't talk as much as women do. Men talk just as much as women do to each other. Let's just be clear about that. Yeah. And they will tell their guy, yo, that shit was trash. Like, you know how many times my sons done told me about every little girl that they liked, and then when they got up on her, she smelled or she took her pants down and the smell just turned them off and they just left the room. And little boys talk like that. Yep.
They talk like that.
I've had it happen.
And they talk to their mothers about the shit. Absolutely. Not that I wanted to know, but you know.
I've had it happen, and it ain't good.
Stay hydrated. Drink your water, your pineapple juice, all of that.
Yeah. Cranberry juice.
You eat holistic foods and things like that. Juice. So your stuff is smelling good. I have a friend who sells Yanni juice.
Yeah.
Oh, like pineapples and mint and like some other stuff, ginger in it as well. Like I usually get it in the summertime and everything. But like that, what goes in your body affects how you smell on the outside. That's the biggest advice I can give to any person that's out there. Make sure you putting good stuff in your body so you releasing that.
Wash your ass, because if you don't wash your ass, even your fragrance game ain't gonna be tight.
It's simple as washing your ass. It's just what you got going in you. Because a lot of times women's scent, it has a lot to do with what they are putting in their body. You could be cleaning, you could be just as clean and everything else, but if you're not putting anything clean in your body, you eating all these steaks and freaking chicken and fried chicken and all the crap that, you know, we put into our bodies, that's gonna come out and you're gonna smell it.
Yeah. One of the worst things to eat is crabs.
Wow. Ooh. I believe you. I believe you.
For a woman's body scent.
Maybe that's what it was.
Going crazy over crab legs.
Eating a mess out of them like it's a sport.
I don't like any fish that smells fishy.
I know, like a lot of men.
When I was eating meat,
I know a lot of men is not up on their fragrance game. My fragrance game is immaculate.
Yeah, absolutely, I know a lot of them too.
My fragrance game is immaculate. I wear fragrances for myself. Like when I'll take a shower, I'll put my robe on, and I have a certain scent for me to have a fragrance on while I'm in the house, just for me.
Right. Absolutely. I just did. I feel you, Mark. I just did that. I put some perfume on just because I wanted to smell myself.
Exactly.
You know. I smell pretty good too. You know.
You see what Andrea said? I know what you mean, Andrea.
Andrea says, can we stop the idea that pussy is supposed to smell like roses or perfume?
But
no, I don't think that's the idea. I think it's not supposed to smell rotten.
Smell like that.
Yeah, exactly. Listen.
I don't need it to smell like roses or perfume. Just don't stink.
Yeah, no, yeah, because I understand what she's saying. She's talking about that natural essence that we women have. You know, but that still is in keeping with what we're talking about in terms of certain foods that you eat comes out smelling horribly on you, and it is still in keeping with that. There is a science behind.
It's in your pores.
Yeah, eating when you have a healthy dietary regimen, and your man tells you your scent is fruity, or your scent is, you know what I'm saying, and it's mixed in. Of course, it's going to be mixed in with your natural elixirs.
Yeah,
there's a distinction.
Yeah, there's so much.
So going forward, I think my coming away from this conversation again would lets me understand a lot more about what you know, what it is we're doing here. You know, your intimacy with that person is a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it right away, like Brother Mark said, because you don't know what the person like. You have to find out what they like and what turns them on. I will say this, fellas, if you got a woman who is doing certain things to you, and watch how she moves with you, watch how she touches you, watch how she looks at you. Everything to me, and ladies, correct me if I'm wrong, if a woman does something, do certain things to a man, that's pretty much what she wants done to her.
Absolutely.
As far as touch, as far as kissing, as far as caressing, as far as, you know, the bonding part of it, you know, the romanticism, the things that women, you know, do, and a lot of men do, men will do, you know, will give you what they want you to give them back. You know, and my to me is sometimes it's as simple as paying attention to what the person is doing to you.
Yeah.
If you pay attention to what that person is doing to you, you'll know what they like to get done. Because it's sometimes, and this is something that you can do at home. Take your hands and just touch your body. You know, touch your body, because now you know what that feels like on that person when you're doing it to that person. Touch them touch your body everywhere. I think Mari was saying about self-exploration. You're exploring what it is that, you know, you're exploring your body to know what it is to give to someone else, or at least what you like. So it's good to always, you know, just make sure that you're paying attention to the person's movements when you do touch them. When you do go inside, when a man goes inside a woman, men, pay attention to how she moves when you do certain movements. Pay attention to that stuff. Don't just take that away and not do it ever again. You know, it's some things that we're not focusing on enough with each other, to where sometimes I think we just get in bed and it becomes mundane. It becomes, you know, something to do because he just wants to get off or she just wants to get off. If it's a journey, then take the journey every time together. And I implore you to always ask questions. Baby, do you like this? Do you like when I do this? Do you like when I do that? You know, am I doing it too much? Am I holding you too much? Am I cuddling too much? You know, am I spooning you too much? You know, ask those questions, because those questions are important, and it teaches you about them and what they like, as well as what, you know, them liking, knowing what you like. So I know when I did start doing that, and I paid attention to what it was doing to him, I understood, you know, I think they call them the erogenous zones, where certain points on your body gives a certain response. So that, I guess, to me, going forward, is know your partner. Again, like everyone is saying, to know your partner. But if you're young, dumb, and full of cum, ask questions.
I came back in on that. Exactly. You were saying like a chipmunk. I had to go out and come back in.
Yeah, you know,
Can you imagine Alvin and the Chipmunks talking about sex? It was crazy.
Right. You know, that just always ask enough questions, because I hate seeing that women, you know, especially being a part of that crew, have gone so long without knowing that they too can be included, that it is about them, you know, and you're not just here to please a man, you know. So learn what you need to, and ask those questions when you need to. You know, you got 3 sisters here, Andrea, as well, and Mother Jai, Mark Ghani, my brother Dawood, and the people that come on. We love to have those conversations with you, and we don't mind having those conversations with you, because at the end of the day, we want our people to know how to love each other and how to, have long-lasting relationships and marriages, and people to stay together. I want to see that for us, and I want to see everybody having happy, and healthy sexual relationships, and if I can be of any service of, as far as telling you my experiences, I'm here for that, as well as my panel. So thank you guys for joining us. Anything you guys want to add to that?
No. Before we go? Like a chipmunk.
Right.
She just told me.
Yeah.
That sounded like a chipmunk now?
No.
Okay. I'm tired of StreamYard playing me, man.
Yeah.
I know, I'm sorry.
They be trying to play me, man.
But yeah, this conversation, again, like I said, I wanted to have this because of the next generation. Again, I have children of, all of us have children of the probably around the same ages. Mine are going into, 30. My daughter just turned 31. I have another child that's 2 years. Each one of them are 2 years behind each other. And that door is open. I leave that door open for them to come and talk to me, and for me to be real and raw, because I want them to get it right the first time. Get it right because I didn't get it right. I'm not that parent my parent was. I want you to ask me those questions.
Exactly.
So parents, you have to be that way with the next generation. So we're building healthy relationships and healthy sexual relationships within the family. So,
amen.
Mark?
Nothing else to add to that. You said it all right there.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your insight. Mari, thank you so much for your insight. Tanika, thank you so much for your insight. Andrea and everyone else that have had anything to say, thank you so much. We will continue these conversations and many more. We're getting back to lyrical therapy sometime this week. I got some awesome songs I want you guys to hear, and the lyrics is just beautiful. So Andrea says, I get that many of us have been told by Summer's Eve that it should not smell natural.
I agree.
Well, they're trying to sell a product, so
Yeah.
That's
right.
what that's about.
And that's the worst thing you can put up in that. I'm just saying.
What?
It's Summer's Eve, and the scented stuff, like that's the stuff that makes it bad.
Really?
Yep, goes off your whole flora.
We shouldn't be dishing that much. No.
Yeah, it throws you totally off. It actually creates a reason for you to have to go to the doctor.
It hurts.
Wow.
It out your pH. It kills your pH, natural pH. Balance. That, and also man's sperm also kills your pH as well. So there's two things. So you got that going up, killing the sperm, that's killing your pH balance. And then you also have, which is why the majority of the time, if you are going to use dishes, it should be like the vinegar, because the vinegar is what replenishes it. But if you're using those scented things and put it up in it, that's creating a crime scene in your stuff. I'm sorry. The crime scene up in there. You want to know? No.
Right.
The natural pH, and your natural pH comes from the food that is in your freaking diet. I cannot express that enough. The food in your diet is going to determine what your stuff is going to be.
Agreed.
And what you put out there.
Agreed.
And on that note, make sure you visit Nika's Vegan Delights so you can put some good cookies in your system.
Right. It's on the it's in the banner.
Yes.
Purchase from Nika's Vegan Delights. nikasvegandelights.com.
Yes.
She can set her watch to my orders.
Right.
Yeah.
Moment
my peanut butter
my bag is
cookies in
empty.
there
I'm a regular now.
Yeah, I'm a regular.
That's good stuff.
Right. Andrea says Andrea's last words was she agrees with a healthier diet. And on that note, you guys, thank you for coming on. I feel great being back. I was sick for a minute, y'all. I thought I was down for the count.
Oh Lord.
You know, but yeah, it wouldn't let me go. It wouldn't let me go. But you know, the God's grace, you know, I'm still here. So get to annoy you guys a little longer. So talk to you later.
All right. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Have a
Good
good
night.
one. Great to see
All right,
everybody.
guys.
Blessings, everyone.
All right. Good night.
Good night.